Hey, it's your boy Algebra coming to you live and direct from the studio, aka my living room. Gonna teach you how to do some two variable inequalities today. And if you notice, that means we have an XY graph. Why? Because there are two variables in each one of these inequalities, an X and a Y variable. When you think about an X and a Y variable, the usual thing that's going to come to your mind, your instinct is going to tell you that we are actually talking about lines and V's. So we're going to talk about lines and V's today. For all of these examples, you will be having homework. Your homework is going to take place after we are done with the notes. So bear with me for a couple of minutes. We're going to bear down right now. We're going to get some information across to you via the internet. Here we go. First example problem that I want to talk to you about is y is greater than 2x minus 3. Now, if all I did was told you to make a t-chart, I don't think any of you would have any hesitation. You know exactly how to do that. That's the first step. I want to create a t-chart for the graph 2x minus 3. Remember, when we're dealing with the t-chart, we need to first recognize where we're supposed to start. There are no parentheses in this problem, 0 for x. The y comes directly from the outside. It is negative 3. I'm going up 2 and over 1. This represents a straight line. It is a linear equation because there are no bars. It is a single x value in there. So the real question is, what is supposed to change about this graph now that I have changed it from an equal sign to being a greater than? This alligator in the middle of the problem is going to make it just a little bit of a difference. So I want you to think about this idea. If you had an equation, it would say equals. You're drawing a straight, solid line. Now that it says is greater than, we're trying to show a range of solutions that makes the statement true. So again, we're looking for things that would make this statement true. Is it true that if I plug 0, 0 in, that this statement is still true? 0 greater than 2 times 0 minus 3. Is it true that 0 is greater than negative 3? Your answer is yes. That's a big deal. The reason why that's a big deal is because now we can talk about graphing it, and we have a place to come back to and reference what are the real solutions for this. Put those 3 points on the graph. Connect your lines, but this time we need to really think about this. If the symbol that I highlighted before was drawn onto a number line, it would be an open circle. Is there any possible way that you could create an open line similarly? An open line, a line with openings. Maybe we can use a dotted line to show that same type of concept. That it gets super duper really, really close, but it doesn't actually touch. So when you connect the dots this time, please use a dotted line to show that we got really, really close to all of these points, but not quite there. So the concept was, if you use this dotted line, it's going to help you show which solutions are possible. It says that we got really close to all of these dots that are on the line, but we didn't actually get there. Now, why did I have you do that thing with the 0, 0? Well, the 0, 0 is a point. And since this particular point made the statement true, that means it is one of our solutions. It is in the range of solutions. If it was a number line, that would be on the side that I colored. And so this time, it is on the side that I will shade. My final answer for this type of graph, a two-variable inequality, is not just drawing a line. It is showing the area that is true for the inequality. Okay, let's try the next one. The equation I want to use this time is that y is less than or equal to 1/2 of x plus 5 minus 2. If you feel comfortable, graph the line. If you don't feel comfortable, wait for my T-chart. The T-chart this time is going to begin with a -5, -2. The slope says go up 1 and over 2. Those 3 points on the actual graph going to be here, here, and here. So now the questions start to come. Which section should I shade? Should this be a dotted line this time, or should it be a solid? These are all going to be the questions that are very similar to the ones that you answered regarding your number lines the past couple days. On a number line, would this symbol that we chose to use in this problem, would that be an open circle or a closed circle? Since it has the line underneath it, it would be a closed circle. And since it's a closed circle, we should close the line. It's going to be a solid line, just like what we did before, back in the first chapter of the school year. Your line should go like that. So now the last question is, which side shows my answers? Should I be coloring on the top side or the bottom side? Well, the easiest way to check is for you to pick a point and see if it makes it true or not. Is 0 less than or equal to 1/2 of 0 plus 5 minus 2? Well, if I simplify it, I do believe that 0 is less than or equal to 1/2. Therefore, the point 0, 0 should be shaded in again. Here's my solution. Everything on the bottom side of this line is a potential solution for this inequality. As I scroll down, I want you to go ahead and work on this problem on your own. If you're working independently right now, go ahead and pause the video. Do your work. And now let's go ahead and check your solutions. The first thing that it asks you is, what type of inequality is this? When I ask you that, I want to know, is it going to be a straight line or is it going to be a V? This is a linear, a linear inequality because it will make a straight line. Is it dotted or is it solid? This will be an open circle Therefore, we should make it a dotted line. And are we going to color the side that is less or greater? I want to color the top side because it is going to be the greater than side. First point was 1, 2. Down 1 and over 3. This is a straight line. It is linear and it is going to be dotted. Therefore, here's the line, and the solutions for this particular problem are on the top. How do you know if it's top or bottom? Well, which side is greater, the top or the bottom? All right, so we have a basic idea. Now, if I were to ask you about some additional problems, you could find them on the back. Here we go. First problem on the back side, I want to change the type of inequality this time. I want to give you an absolute value. Y is greater than or equal to 2/3 times the absolute value of x plus 3 minus 1. An absolute value, just like we talked about in the last chapter, says that we are going to be making a V, and the V has a special point in the middle called a vertex. The vertex is a very important point. It is going to be on the line of symmetry. It is going to allow us to create the V on each side, and your final result should have these 3 points. Now, if I were to ask you, based upon what we did on the front side, thinking about our open circles versus our closed, is this an open or a closed circle? Your answer was closed. You are correct. So should this be a solid or a dotted line? If your answer was dotted, you are wrong. Definitely wrong. This needs to be a solid line because it says or equal to. And yeah, it's not going to be a straight line. It's going to be a V, and that's completely okay. The question that I asked you to help us figure out which side of the line we should be coloring was, does 0, 0 make this thing true? Well, for an absolute value V, it should be even easier. Are the Y's greater or are they less? Since it says greater, since the alligator is eating the Y's, that just means you should color in the top. There's our solution, and we're moving on. I want to give you an absolute value this time. Y is less than the absolute value of x plus 1. Again, you have a vertex. That vertex is at -1 comma 0. The slope is 1 over 1. It is a V opening upwards that looks like this. Should it be solid or dotted? Well, I made a mistake because the correct answer is that it should be a dotted line because there's no line underneath the alligator. Should you color the top or the bottom? Well, the alligator is eating the X's. That means it is less than, and less than, those type of things are below, like lower numbers. Here's my solution set. Every possible thing on the outside, the bottom side of the V. So rushing to get this finished up really quick before my recording ends, I want you to know this is an absolute value inequality. It is a solid line, and because the alligator is not eating the Y, we're going less than. When I graph it, solid line, less than. Done. Do your homework.